Good evening and welcome to Confessions. I'm your hostess of light, Jennifer Watson. I'm an empowerment coach, new moon astrologer, past life reader, and author. And my mission is to create a safe space for people to step into the darkness so that they can shine their brightest of lights. And that's what this show is all about. Tonight we'll be talking about the essence of love and how it is the healer of all things. We all go through heartbreaks and hardships and challenges. Yet at the root of those lessons and healings really is love. I mean, I know it sounds crazy and you hear it all the time, but love really does make all things possible. Yet we resist it and allow other emotions and thoughts to block our own truths. So joining me to talk about this tonight is the lovely Rose Oletta, also known as Oracle Rose. She is a divine channel of the higher realm of the spirit world, where she communicates information and messages from guides and angels. Her message is one that is rooted in the concept that our true essence is love, something that she naturally radiates. So it is an honor to have her on the show tonight. So welcome to Confessions, Rose.
Thank you so much for having me, Jenny. I'm really
I'm excited for you to be here too. So are you ready to bare your soul? All right, so let's get to it. So as a child, you said that you were it's like you were born connected to the spirit world. And you've even referred to yourself as feeling like you resonate with the description of an indigo child. So tell us a little bit for the viewers who don't know what an indigo child is, what that is and how that resonated so strongly with you.
Well, I didn't have the words for it growing up. I later found out as an adult what an indigo child was, or now people know about the 3 waves of beings that are incarnating to help on this planet, and I'm a second waver. I'm a blue ray and a white ray. I'll explain what those things mean because, like I said, growing up, I didn't know. So as a child, I was born into a very unhealthy family, a toxic life. My dad was murdered when I was 2 years old. So I grew up in a very dark world. And all I had was my connection to spirit, really. So as a child, these beings would come to me and speak with me, and in the form of light, like rays of light coming into my room. And I didn't understand why I could communicate with light. To me, it just looked like a sun ray. And it wasn't until I understood later in life that spirits are light. God is light. That's what it is. Light and love are the same thing. And in our world, it appears light. Physically, it appeared to me as a beam of light. And then later I learned how to communicate just energetically through my mind and my intuition. But an indigo child is the spirits that are being born into our world, or they were born into the world, generally around in the 1970s, all the way to the late 1990s. And they're the children who suffered, really lonely, a lot of depression, very misunderstood. A lot of them were very angry, went through fits of rage because they knew that our world was not correct. It's not the way God intended for our world to be. And something inside of them, their spirit just felt it and knew it and lived it. And the rest of our world and society didn't understand them or why they felt this way or felt so different. And so a lot of these children struggled growing up. A lot of them were suicidal. A lot of them being diagnosed with ADHD or even schizophrenia, different types of bipolar depression. Depression is very common with indigo children, but really they have the path of the wounded healer, and it's their mission on earth to go through these experiences and hardships to learn so that once they come out of it and heal themselves, and so that was really my path. So for the first probably 25 years of my life, it was a lot of struggle, a lot of suffering, a lot of hardship. And it wasn't until spirit began appearing to me more often and in very profound, amazing, just really cool ways that they explained to me what this was and what my path was and what I was to do. And that's really when my life took a turn and I started this work.
So how did that develop into the work that you do now? How did you make that connection from, hey, this is just naturally part of who I am, to, hey, now I can be of service to the world?
Yeah, and it's really fascinating, actually. So most of my life, it was just a strong intuition. It was just hearing spirit, and it's something I kept to myself. You know, this was before there were shows about mediums on TV. This was before the internet. You know, I was just this kind of lone wolf on my own, connected to spirit. And I didn't know there were others out there who were like me or who understood. Now it's a totally different world. I mean, we're on this show talking about it where millions of people can come and participate in this conversation. And, and it's safe to talk about it for the most part. Whereas, you know, this was my deep, dark secret most of my life. So when I was sitting at home, and all of a sudden I got this thought in my head that I was supposed to move to Colorado. And this was right before 2012, where if you're into astrology, you know, a lot of transits happened right at 2012, where the ancients talked about, the Mayans talked about this transition of our new beginning, our new world. And that's really when it took off for me. So I followed that instruction to move to Colorado. I had no idea why. I didn't know any. When I moved to Colorado. When I got there, I ended up connecting with a group who did psychic and mediumship development. I later found out that Colorado has the largest mediumship and psychic development group in the world. And that's really where I connected and started training. So I took what was, I thought, just my natural intuition, and I put it into practice. And I started developing these skills and honing these skills so that I understood what I was doing more than just allowing these thoughts to come to me. Then I connected with my next mentors who really trained me and explained, you know, that this isn't just work, this is my mission. And they helped me turn that into a business, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just getting information. How do I now put that into practice and actually go out there and help people? So it was a series of spirit bringing me to the right people and the right places at the right time, and following that intuition and guidance. And I think that's what people confuse with this type of work, is they think that it's that, you know, it's somehow magic, that spirit just comes and then things just happen. Well, that's true, that does happen. It's really awesome when it does, but it's also a series of leading you to the next step, and you have to follow, and you have to say yes. When spirit guides you to something, you have to show up, and that's when the real magic happens. So that was kind of how it happened for me. And then after that, they led me to, I had this overwhelming urge to meet this woman I saw on YouTube. And she, you know, she did past life regressions, and I've done past life regressions before, so I didn't know why I was so drawn to this woman with past life regressions. Well, I ended up calling her. She lived in the town that I graduated high school from. So at this point, I'm in Colorado. I just moved away from that town where the woman I see on YouTube lives, where I just moved away from, where I graduated from high school. Just bizarre. So we ended up connecting, and during the session I had with her, they said that I was to become a trance channel. And I had no idea what a trance channel was. I didn't know what that meant. And so she happened to know a trance channel in the same town that I just moved from. So she asked my guides, am I supposed to connect her with this woman who's a trance channel? They said, yes, connect her. So I said, okay. So she gave me the name of the woman, and I ended up booking a session with her, and I mailed her a check. Now, I forgot to put a stamp on that envelope. So I called her and I say, check, but I forgot to put a stamp on it. She calls me 5 days later and says, I just got your envelope with no stamp on it and the check in it. And it's, I mean, the thing that when spirit wants something to happen, they make it happen. Absolutely. So that was a big sign for both her and I session, and it was fantastic. My guides came into her body, which is what a trance channel is. Her spirit moves out of the way or leaves and allows the spirits to come through and have a physical conversation, just like we're having right now. So I was able to have a physical conversation with my guides for the first time and ask them everything. And the first thing they told me was, all those times that you cried, all those times you thought you were alone, you were never alone. We were right there with you. And that was powerful for me. It really changed my life, because I had lived such a dark life before, so lonely and so painful to be someone of pure spirit in such a dark world where people didn't understand me. And to know that my guides had never left my side meant so much to me. And so from that point forward, it was a series of them activating hear them more clearly. It was raising my vibration so that I could become a trance channel as well. And just little by little, it just really took off.
What an amazing story, Rose. Now, Rose hasn't always been your name. You changed it. You were led to change that. So would you like to share a little bit about that? Is that something you're comfortable with?
I was going to say about the rays. So a blue ray is truth. It's a messenger. And so I'm an open book when it comes to my story. And white ray is love, which is my essence also, which you talked about, which I'm so glad you're talking about that, because it really is the root of all healing. So yes, my name was Rachel before. That was what I was born as. And I had no intention of changing my name. When I was first formulating the business, I spoke to them through my friend, the Trance Channel, and I said, okay, you know, what should I call myself? What should this be? And I was thinking more along the lines of what should my business name be? And they said, think something along the line of a flower. And no longer Rachel, you need to change your name. And I thought, well, that's weird. How am I going to tell my friends and family? And you know, a flower, like dandelion, no. Like chrysanthemum, no. You know, it literally went like a week, like lily, like all these bizarre flower names. And I'm like, that's the only thing I can think of is Rose. So I went back to them and I said, and they said, yes. They said, your name is Oletta. That is the name that God gave your spirit. Your spirit's name is Oletta. And Oletta means, in spirit language, a rose with no thorns. That,
I just
they said, yeah, they said, what is a rose to you? And I said, well, a rose is beautiful. It's God's perfect creation. They said a rose is, it's an expression of love. And it's God's perfect creation as an expression of love. And that's what your essence is. Your essence is love, and you're here on this planet to teach the world about love. And they said, what is the most important type of love? And I said, self-love. And they said, yes. When you have self-love, there's no room for anything else. It's only love. So that's the goal, is to heal yourself and learn self-love, become love, and then you're able to love others. So so I transitioned, and it wasn't just a name change. It was an actual change of letting go of the soul. Rachel walked out, left my body, and through the process of healing, with that, fully merged into my body. Some people would call it a walk-in. So the story of Rachel ended and left. Rose walked in, and but I still retain her memories. I still retain those experiences, and in a way, it's an essence. It's a part of Oletta. It's just Oletta is the higher self that has come in.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, part of your bio, you actually say, I carry the essence of love and truth of God within my illumined blue and white rays. So what exactly does that mean? I mean, you've explained what all this stuff is, but down to the core of it, what does that mean to you?
So these are all things I've asked Spirit. So I should say all the information I have, I wasn't born with.
These are all saying, like, I'm just going to decide this is who I am. Right.
Yeah, no, and not at all. All things. And it's been a growing process. You know, it's something that we all go through as we evolve. It's a process of ascension and awakening. And right. I've gone through the same process that everybody else is. So I ask those questions. What are the rays? What does that mean? Well, God is light. That's what God is. God is, it's hard to put in words, but God is everything. And his expression is through light. Every color you can imagine, and colors we don't even have in this world, is what God is. It's the most beautiful spectrum of light you can imagine. And so each color carries an essence. And as through the process of ascension, we kind of master those rays or those colors or those essences of God. And we kind of add them to our belt like you would in So I've mastered the blue ray. It is like a trophy I get to carry in this life, you know. So the blue ray is truth, and it's the messenger. It's the one who speaks and teaches. Melchizedek is my main guide for that ray. He helps me to get my messages across to the world. And white ray is love, which Jesus was a white ray, carried the divine truth of the Holy Spirit, which is love. And this is something that, you know, many of the people on this earth don't even realize that they carry this within them, this spark of God within us. And that's really what the rays are.
Awesome. So let's bring it back to the topic that I presented at the beginning of the show. You know, love does heal all things. Whenever we're hurting, when we go back to the space of love, that's when we begin to come out of it. So why do you think that people resist it so much? I mean, it feels so great to love, but why do we resist it and go back to those icky emotions instead?
Well, there's a two-part answer to that. The first one I would say it comes down to self-worth. That we are, from the time we're born, we're taught through the brokenness of our parents, through the lies of society, through the focus on the material in our world, that or appearances, or all the things that really don't matter. When it comes down to it, you have to understand that we're humans right now, but in truth, we're all spirit. And so we come in and we wear our meat suit bodies, but our true essence of who we are is spirit. We've just forgotten that. And there's a purpose of why we've forgotten that. We've forgotten because we're here to learn lessons, and we're here to master and heal our soul from all the previous lifetimes we've ever had. So we come in already with lessons from our soul. Then we're born into bloodlines that are tainted, that have things that need to be healed within those bloodlines. If you're able to master a lesson, you're able to heal that generations. So it's huge, because our DNA, our cells do matter. The things and decisions and thoughts and feelings our ancestors had thousands of years ago are still carried within our cells. So sometimes we're born just feeling not worthy. And sometimes we're taught by our parents through their patterns of brokenness. Sometimes it's, you know, societal pressure, all those things. So the goal is for us to master these lessons, whatever personal lessons you have. And really, I mean, self-love, I think, is a lesson for all of us. There's not one person on this planet who doesn't need to master or learn that lesson. And that really is the core lesson. If you're going to focus on anything, focus on that first. And I guarantee you all the other stuff will flow and come into place much easier. It really is the lesson to learn. But I mean, you have, even if every day you're telling yourself you love yourself, you love yourself, you're bombarded constantly by the opinions of others all the time. And it's just a matter of learning to tune all and understand that none of that matters. And at the core of it, this is your journey, it's your life, it's your time. Really, we have a short amount of time on this, and it's your turn to do it.
So in order to raise the love vibration on this earth, your recommendation would be to just love ourselves, and then it will just radiate outward.
Well, really, self-love, I mean, if you think about it, if you love yourself, you have no desire to harm others. You know, any type of abuse or hurt out there, it begins from the brokenness within yourself. If you're angry at yourself, if you're unhappy with yourself, if you feel somehow cheated or gypped in this world, you know, you have this animosity towards others, it starts. But if that part of you is healed within, all you want to do is love and to help. It creates this essence in you of service. You literally, you're so happy and full of love yourself, you just want to radiate that outwards. And these indigo children are amazing because they started from such a place of brokenness. I always compare myself to a shelter dog, because I say, you know, shelter dogs always make the best pets because they've been through so much, and they're just so, anybody who's ever had a shelter pet knows those animals love more than any other animal could possibly love. And it's because they understand, they get it, they know the brokenness, and they know what it feels like to be loved. And that's really, that's an analogy of self-love. It's when you come from that dark place of brokenness and you've healed that within you, and all you want to do now is help others in love, you know? And imagine a world where everybody learned that lesson. How beautiful that world would be.
That would be nice. It would be amazing. It would be peaceful. It would be back to the Garden of Eden.
People want to do these grand things, you know, they want to go out and save the world. And it really comes down to the small things and healing yourself. I don't know if you're familiar with the work of Danny and Brinkley. He wrote a book, several books. He had a after-death experience. And when he went to the realm, the in-between realm, he asked them, you know, what can I do to help on this planet? And they said, it's in the small things. It's the little things. People want to make it so big, but it's the small things. Just love. Love yourself. It's that easy. Love yourself and you'll change the world.
Amazing. So when somebody comes to a session with you, what is it that you do? You communicate with their loved ones, or what is it that you provide to the world? How do you translate your gifts to helping others?
Yeah, so I describe myself as an oracle, and that was given to me by Spirit also. I had no idea what an oracle was. And this is my biggest challenge, is explaining to people what I do, because there's just not words for it yet. So I trained in evidential mediumship, which means I can communicate with loved ones who've crossed over. I trained in the UK style, which is fantastic because they really push for evidence. That means that if your loved one's going to talk to me, I want to make sure I'm speaking to your loved one. So right. I will ask for specific information, names, birth dates, things that you can verify so that you're confident in them. So that's one thing that I do. Usually what I do as an oracle is I communicate with the higher realms. So ascended masters, the angelic beings, your guardian angels and guides. So when you come to me, I will connect with your guides, and I just work as literally a medium. And that means a medium as in the middle, the in-between person. So I'm just a translator. So my body becomes a receiver, and they send forth the energy in the form of symbols, thoughts, words, languages, and I receive the information, and then I just say it right back out to you. And sometimes that happens where, like, I'm talking now and I just kind of translate what they're showing me or saying, goes direct, and I just zone out and they speak through me. So, and they give messages. Their messages, I always tell people, you know, you're going to a real reader or I don't know, whatever word you want to use, psychic, because they give you the truth. They're not going to sugarcoat it. I know a lot of people say, oh, you have angels all around you and you're glowing and everything's so great. That's not how spirit talks. You know, they're like a loving parent who will tell you, you know, this is where you need to work on. This is the area. If you want to heal this is what needs to happen. So they're very loving and supportive, but they have a short amount of time to communicate important things to you for you to move forward in your life. So if you come for a session with me, that's what they do. It's a short amount of time. They don't waste time with fluff. It's time to, you know, this is the area that you need help with, and they're going to show you. Now, this is the other thing about it, is a lot of people want to ask about their future. And I explain to people about timelines, that our world, there is no time. Everything is happening now. It's a matter of timelines. So I can look at various timelines and show you the possible outcomes based on your decisions. So it all comes back to you. It all comes back to, are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to heal yourself? Are you willing to move forward and make these decisions? And if so, these are the possible outcomes. So it's honestly, it's a great opportunity because you get to see what the possibilities are out there based on the choices that you make. And it's kind of, you know, being able to connect with your guides and get that heads up, I think is awesome. I love what I do. I love helping people, and I love being able to give that to them.
It is absolutely awesome. So where can people find you?
So I have a website. I'm located in the Northwest region of the United States, Portland, Oregon. It's near Seattle, but I can also, you know, do Skype sessions anywhere in the world. My website is www.oraclerose.com. I'm on all social media, Facebook.
Very cool. So, Rose, we've come to the point of our show where it's confession time. And this is the point where we talk about, we go into what some of our perhaps dark areas are in our life where we met a challenge and then we broke through and we worked through it to light. And usually it's something that people can resonate with because they struggle with the same things. Can you take us back to a point in your life where you were faced with a struggle that you worked through?
Oh, so many.
You mean you might know, right?
You know, I think, I mean, there's been many, but a few things that I think a lot of through is relationships. I was in a very unhappy marriage for a long time where I felt like my power had been taken from me. I didn't know how I was going to support myself and my children. I didn't know, I didn't have the confidence to go out there and be on my own. I was afraid that I had. And that's really where self-love came in, where I knew that I was not living in my truth by hiding, by being safe. I needed to take a leap of faith and risk losing everything that I felt comfortable with, all security I had, to live in my truth, which was that I wasn't happy, that this wasn't the best situation for my children, and I needed to have no fear and have complete faith, trust in God completely, and trust in myself, believe in myself completely. Mm-hmm. And when I took that leap of faith, I can't even tell you the countless blessings that happened. I mean, numerous blessings happened for me just by standing in my truth and being willing to let go of my fears and let go of it all. And it's like Spirit asks you to stand on a ledge and to jump. And it looks really scary, and you think you're going to fall, you think you're going to crash, but they say, trust us. And when you jump off, your wings spread and you fly. And it's amazing. It's incredible. And it's been blessings after blessings after blessings ever since. So that would be my my confession and my message to people is really believe in yourself and have faith. When you live in your truth, you will be blessed.
That one really just hit home for me. So thank you for being a mirror and a reflection for me. How did you get to that point, though, of what gave you the strength to just flip that switch and go like, I'm going to jump. I'm going to do it. For people out there who are relating, who are at that precipice, it's like, okay, do I jump? Do I come back? What drove you to finally just do it?
I knew that staying in that situation, I knew what to expect. If you make the same choices, you're going to get the same results. I knew what that was. So what was my alternative? My alternative was to do something different. And there's a risk. There's a chance you're going to fall flat on your ass. And that's a big possibility. And that's scary. That's really scary, especially when, I have 4 little ones. And that was a lot for me. But that's where faith really comes in, trusting your intuition. I'm a strong believer that any decision based in fear is not going to work out for you. If you can let go of that fear and am I in this situation because I'm afraid to stand on my own? What fears am I basing this decision off of? If you answer yes, that it is a fear-based decision, it's the wrong decision, 100%. I don't care what it is. If you make a decision that, sure, maybe you're afraid of the possibilities or the outcomes, but not, I'm talking about decisions where you're living in fear. You're staying safe. But if you take that risk and you are living your truth and you're basing your decisions off of what you want for your life, taking your power back, doing what makes you happy, you can't go wrong. You can't. God will catch you every time, and it's just a matter of faith. Now, it might take time. It might be challenging. There might be learning phases in that, but it's a process, and you just keep moving through it. And I guarantee you, as long as you're standing in your truth and you're making decisions based on love and not fear, you will succeed. And Spirit has told me, when Spirit asks you to do something and you say yes, you will be blessed in more ways than you can ever imagine, both expected and unexpected ways. And I'm living proof of that. And I tell anybody out there, trust in Spirit, have faith, and you'll be fine.
Well, thank you for my message. What message do you have for the viewers out there? What final word do you have to share with them?
Well, if I can say anything, it really is, if there's any area of your life that you're unhappy with or you're struggling with, really focus in on self-love and self-worth, because through that, anything can be healed, truly.
I love that. Rose, I know this went so quickly. This has been an amazing conversation, and hopefully this helps people to embrace self-love and raise the love vibration around the planet. So thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's been amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Jenny.
So if you want to check out more about Rose, you can find her at www.oraclerose.com. I'll be posting her links in the video below. I'm Jennifer Watson. I'm an empowerment coach. If you feel like you need a one-on-one session to help break through some blocks, you can find me at www.jennifer-watson.me. So thank you for tuning in tonight. Tune in next week as I interview the awesome Daniel Tolson. He is a peak performance coach and author. And what is the business psychology of the new rich? Well, you're going to have to tune in to find out. So thanks again for joining me tonight. Namaste and embrace your power.